Welcome back to Fox News Live, everybody. 44 minutes after the hour, tensions running high over Taiwan, with that country's president warning China against, quote, military adventurism, after China's President Xi said people in Taiwan share Beijing's aim of reunifying the, quote, motherland. China also warns that if Taiwan crosses any red lines, it would lead to, quote, profound catastrophe. Joining us now, Gordon Chang, Gatestone Institute Senior Fellow and author of The Coming Collapse of China and the Great U.S.-China Tech War. Gordon, it's been a while. Always great to have you with us. We appreciate your perspective. I think I would begin by saying the obvious, which is, do the people in Taiwan, based on what you know and what you've read, agree with this idea of wanting to, quote, reunify the motherland?
No, they don't, Kevin. When you look at self-identification surveys, which I think are really the most important determinant, about 80% of the people on the island view themselves as Taiwanese, not Chinese. Those people on the island who view themselves as Chinese, not Taiwanese, are in the low single digits. So people in Taiwan say, yes, we want good relations with Beijing, but we are not China. And that is, I think, the reason why Xi Jinping understands that he's lost hearts and minds.
For the people who don't study this every day, but do see what appear to be some parallels between what's happening now and perhaps, again, perhaps, what happened with Hong Kong, can you sort of draw any distinction from what happened then? Are we seeing any parallels from your perspective?
Well, we certainly are, and Beijing is drawing them. Beijing believes that its one country, two systems formula should apply not only to Hong Kong, but to Taiwan. And what happened in 2019, where people in Taiwan saw China impose these ruthless, brutal measures, they lost people in Taiwan. Matter of fact, Taiwan's president was not going to win renomination to run for her second term. But after what occurred in 2019, she not only won renomination, she won the election in a landslide. So basically, Beijing was responsible for a president who is very, as you could say, anti-China, but certainly pro-Taiwan.
But I want to ask you this, too, because then the question becomes from the West, in particular from the U.S. perspective, what, if anything, can be done? I mean, you're going to read the Biden statement that might say, well, sanctions this, or we're warning against, you know, things like that, that sort of language, which can mean anything. Is there really anything, frankly, that the West, broadly speaking, and in particular the U.S., can do to stop what could be an unfortunate eventuality?
There are many things that we can do to prevent China from even thinking of invading. And one of them is for President Biden to say publicly that the United States will defend Taiwan and that we will offer a mutual defense treaty. The other thing that we can do is establish closer relationships with Taipei. And this coming week, the Japanese prime minister is actually going to Australia to sign a reciprocal access agreement, which looks like a military treaty. And everybody knows that that is directed against China. It is meant to protect Taiwan. So the region can come together, especially under the leadership of the United States. But if Beijing thinks that the United States is vacillating, which it has been under Biden, then that really can lead the Chinese to adventurism, which is what the Taiwan president said in her New Year's address.
In the 30 seconds or so that we have left, what's the message from the U.S. State Department, too? I think that's important as well, because while Biden may not have a strong message, it's up to Anthony Blinken as well to sort of lay out the clear American perspective in this instance.
You would hope that Secretary of State Blinken would do that, but he really has not. He sometimes said strong words on various things, including Taiwan, but there have been very few actions to back that up. And so I think that China looks at the State Department and not really intimidated at all by what Blinken says.
Gordon Chang, one of the best in the business and obviously one of the smartest men I know from the Gatestone Institute, Senior Fellow. Gordon, thank you. Happy New Year, my friend. Good to talk to you.